Hey everybody! Today's lesson is going to be on writing quadratic equations. So the gist of this is you're going to have to write a quadratic equation in either standard form, vertex form, or that factored form. Another name for the factored form is called intercept form, and on this worksheet that's how it is referred. So given certain sets of information, you'll write the different forms. So let's look at this very first section. So remember that the standard form of a quadratic equation is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So we're going to practice writing equations in standard form. So let's look at this first example over here on the left. It says to write the given quadratic function in standard form. So how do we do that? So if you'll look right over here, it says multiply the binomials. So let's do that. And we learned how to multiply binomials in Unit 10 in the polynomials unit. So if you'll recall, we drew that box or the 2x2 box, or you might refer to it as a rectangle. So I'm going to draw that first. And one side is going to be labeled x minus 2. The other side is going to be labeled x plus 3. So x, and then that'll be negative 2, that'll be x, and that'll be positive 3. And then I'm just going to multiply, which we already know how to do this. So I'm going to do x times x, which gives me x squared. Then x times negative 2, which gives me negative 2x. Then I'm going to do 3 times x, which would give me 3x. And 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. Now, when I combine all that, in the middle I have x squared, and then these two terms are like terms. So I'm going to add the negative 2x and the 3x together to give me 1x, and that would be positive 1x. So plus x, or plus 1x, and then minus 6. And that's going to be y equals. And now I'm going to look, is this in standard form? Does this follow the form up top? Ax squared plus bx plus c, it does. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. So it'll be y equals x squared plus x minus 6. All right, guys, now it's going to be your turn. So now I want you to pause the video and try this one on your own. Okay, so here's this problem that I've worked out for you. So it should be y equals 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. You may need to pause the video and make the necessary corrections. Let's move on. Underneath, it talks about checking your answer, and it's just saying that one way that you could check your answer is if you plug in your answer along with the original problem into a graphing calculator like Desmos, and see if these end up being the same thing. Like if you only saw one parabola, then you know that it's correct, right? Because they're graphing one on top of the other. So that's one way that you could check and make sure it was correct by graphing. All right, so on the next page, in the next section, this time we'll be writing the quadratic in standard form given the roots. So first, we need to write the roots in intercept form. Now, in the previous lesson, we didn't call this intercept form, we called it factored form, but it means the same thing. So that's that y equals, and they don't have the a on the outside, but you could have a coefficient out there. X minus p times x minus q, where p and q are the roots. All right, and then once you write it out like that, then you can multiply the binomials out to put it in standard form. So look at this first problem. It says to write the quadratic function in standard form given that the roots are negative 2 and 3. So I'm going to say in this case that we'll let p be negative 2 and q can be 3. And to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter which one you allow to be p and which one you allow to be q. So if I follow this form, I'm going to write y equals, then parentheses, then x, then it says minus p. So I'm going to write minus, and for p I have negative 2, so I wrote minus negative 2, times x minus q. So I'm going to write x minus, and q I have listed as a 3. Now notice I have x minus -2 there. Remember those integer rules? So that's going to be the same as x plus 2 right there. Okay, so now this is written in intercept form or factored form. But the directions are telling us to put it in standard form. So now we do like we just did on the previous page. So I'm going to multiply the binomials. So I'm going to use my box method here. So that's x plus 2, that'd be x minus 3. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. So that's going to be y equals x squared. Then the 2x and the negative 3x are like terms, so I can combine those, which would give me negative 1x or negative x. So minus x and then minus 6. So I get y equals x squared minus x minus 6. Okay, now you get a turn. So now you're going to try this problem. So pause the video and try that problem now. All right, so how'd you do with this one? Actually, I didn't even have to draw the square there, because when I wrote x minus 0, remember x is just standing in place of a number. So x minus 0, any number minus 0 is that number. So it's just x. So I'm going to do an x times the quantity x minus 6. So I can just use the straight distributive property there. Okay, let's go to the next part. All right, so we're in section 3 now. This time we're going to write quadratics in vertex form. And remember that vertex form is right here. Y equals x minus h in parentheses squared plus k. H is the x value of your vertex. K represents the y value of your vertex. Now, the next little part here is a little confusing. It says in order to get the standard form on the quadratic into vertex form, we can complete the square. We haven't learned how to do that, and that's actually not a Math 1 skill. Actually, I shouldn't have. Okay, so we're not going to do a complete the square. We are going to find the vertex and plug it in. That's the way that we're going to do this. So it says to write the given quadratic function in vertex form. Y equals x squared minus 4x plus 8. So let's find the vertex. In order for us to find the vertex, though, we have to find our axis of symmetry first. Do you remember in the last lesson where we identified the A value, B value, and C value? And the reason we did that was to help us with the axis of symmetry because there's a formula for that. So let's do that first. So here, A is going to be 1 because it's just x squared. B is negative 4, and C is 8. And then our axis of symmetry, and please make sure that you're writing this information down too. Okay, so to find the axis of symmetry, it's going to be x equals negative b over 2a. Well, b is negative 4. So I've got that negative over negative 4 over 2 times 1. So I'm going to keep the negative 4 here, and 2 times 1 is 2. This negative sign, I'm just going to put it in the denominator. That negative sign right here, it can go with the numerator or the denominator, just not both. Okay, so negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. So my axis of symmetry would be the line x equals 2, that vertical line. That also tells me that the vertex, because remember the axis of symmetry is going to go straight through the vertex of your parabola. So the x-coordinate of my vertex is 2. Well, if I know the x-coordinate of my vertex, I can find the y-coordinate by plugging that value into the equation. So yesterday I was like, well, let's find f of, in this case, f of 2. So f of 2. So I'm going to do 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 8. Let me move that minus sign up a little bit. So that's 4 minus 8 plus 8. Well, 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 8 is positive 4. All right, so now we know the vertex, the x-coordinate of the vertex is 2, the y-coordinate of the vertex is 4. Okay, so you just found your h and your k. So h is 2, k is 4, we're almost done. So now the formula is going to be y equals, and I'm looking right here, y equals, parentheses, x minus h, so x minus 2 squared, plus k, which in this case is 4. So this is the equation. So we took this in standard form and converted it to vertex form. All right, now your turn. So you're going to do this problem right here, and you want to look through what we just did in all of this problem. Okay, follow my example. So let's pause the video so you can do this problem now. Okay, guys. So here's my work for this particular problem. So check over your work. Be careful of your signs. Those negative signs can trip you up if you're not cautious. So pause the video and let's make the necessary corrections now. Okay, let's go to the next page. So we're on to the next section, I should say. So this time we're finding, this says to find the vertex algebraically. So really this is the same kind of thing that we did on the last page, except for they don't want us to write the equation in vertex form. They just want us to find the vertex. So I'm going to actually tell you to pause the video and try these two on your own. All you have to do is find the vertex. You do not have to come up with the equation in vertex form. So let's pause the video and see if you can do that now. Okay, guys, hopefully you did well finding the vertex for these two problems. So you might want to pause this video real quick so you can check over my work. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Okay, great. Let's go to the next section. So in this section, remember they're calling this intercept form. We referred to it yesterday as factored form, means the same thing. So now we're going to practice changing from standard form to intercept form. And really, all we got to do here is factor out the trinomial. So if you'll recall, when I'm factoring out the trinomial, even if it's in that if it's in ax squared plus bx plus c, which this one is not. Remember what we said? We're going to take the a value and the c value and multiply them together. So in this case, the 1 and the 18, which gives us 18. And then I'm going to list out the factors of 18. And I'm going to go in order. So that's 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, 4, 5. Okay, 6 I've already got. So those are all the factors. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and make that box that we used when we're multiplying binomials. But now we know that inside of this box, this section is going to have this value, which is x squared. And this one is going to have this value, which is positive 18. And then my two empty squares have to add up to negative 11x. So I'm going to look over here for factors of 18 that would add up to negative 11. Whether one's positive or negative, or they're both negative, whichever way I need to do it. So I know that I can do a negative 2 and a negative 9, and that would add up to negative 11. So I'm going to use this pair, and that's the only pair. So I'm going to put a negative 2x in one of those boxes and a negative 9x in the other. And it doesn't matter which one gets which. Okay. And now I'm going to factor out. So first I'm going to look at these two. And I'm going to say, what is the greatest common factor between x squared and negative 9x? Just x. All right, now I'm going to go this way. And I have negative 2x and 18. And let's not worry about the sign just yet. So just think about 2x and 18. Well, the GCF there would be 2. because this is negative right here, then this answer right here has to be negative. So it's going to be negative 2. Now I'm going to go this way. So I've got x squared and negative 2x. Well, here the greatest common factor is just x. Okay, and I know this is negative, but that doesn't have any bearing on this. However, if this was negative, then this one would be negative also. Okay? All right, let's go this way. Negative 9x and 18. Well, forget the signs for a minute. 9 and 18, the GCF, greatest common factor, is 9. So I'm going to factor out a 9, but it's actually going to be a negative 9. And the reason I'm going to take a negative 9 out, if this is negative, then this has to be negative. Okay? So now I've factored it out. I just need to write it down. So this is going to be y equals x minus 2 times x minus 9. If you wrote y equals x minus 9 times x minus 2, you'd still be correct. Either one of those would suffice. All right, so I'm just going to highlight that one, and I'll erase this one because I don't want you to be confused. All right, so now it's your turn. So now you need to do this problem. So I'll put a little star there. So pause the video and write this change this from standard form to factored/intercept form. Okay guys, let's look over this problem. So pause your video so you can check over my work. Hopefully you've done well with today's lesson. So this is the last problem. So you can go ahead, turn this assignment in. Remember to bring any questions that you have directly to my attention so that I can help you. Once you're finished, turn this in and work on your independent practice. Good luck with that.